Sophia. You see my different background today? It's because I'm in the living room. Okay. We are in chapter 4 of Exodus now. And remember that God has shown signs to Moses, and he's told him, you're going to go back to Egypt, this place that you ran away from and you thought you'd never have to go back to, that is scary and dangerous to you. You're going to go back because you left a bunch of people behind, Moses. And I want to free those people, and so I'm going to send you as my messenger. So, we're going to start and just kind of reread a couple of the verses. So we're in verse 10 in chapter 4. Moses said to the Lord, "O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you've spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." We think that might mean that Moses had a stammer or some kind of speech impediment, but that he was insecure about speaking in public. The Lord said to him, "Who gave man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Lord, please send someone else to do it." Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother, Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. But you can take this staff in your hand so you can perform miraculous signs with it." Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Let me go back to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive." Jethro said, "Go, and I wish you well." Now the Lord had said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead." So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started back to Egypt, and he took the staff of God in his hand. The Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Then say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord says. Israel is my firstborn son. And I told you, let my son go, so he may worship me. But you refused to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son.' At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. 'Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me,' she said. So the Lord let him alone. At the time she said bridegroom of blood, referring to circumcision. The Lord said to Aaron, 'Go into the desert to meet Moses.' So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say, and also about all the miraculous signs he had commanded him to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He had also performed the signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard about that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. Okay, let's talk about one real weird thing, which is the part where suddenly out of nowhere it's like God's going to kill Moses. Nobody knows what that means. It seems really weird. We think it's maybe a partial text where something got left out. There's weird translation issues with like pronouns and stuff. We're mostly going to ignore it. And that is just because a lot of times I think that there are really difficult and tricky things in the Bible just to keep us from getting too comfortable with God, to keep us from thinking we've totally got our minds wrapped around him and we understand everything. Because a God that we could totally understand and who was predictable would be a God that was too small to really be God. God has to be bigger than our minds can understand. So every once in a while there's just a real weird story, and I kind of think it's just to keep us guessing so that we're like, oh yeah, I didn't see that coming and I don't really know what it means, and it reminds me that I don't know everything. But let's look at the parts that do make sense. So I love that when Moses is like, I don't want to go, don't make me go, can't you send someone else? The God is annoyed with him. It says he burns with anger. He's like, I've already told you I'll be with you. I've given you all of these abilities. My power flows through you. I've told you I'm going to to, tell you what to say. But then what I also love is that he says Aaron is already on his way. God knows that Moses didn't want to go and that he felt insecure. He's not a good speaker, and he worries about that he's going to stumble over his words or he's going to have a hard time with it. And so even before Moses has said that, God has already told Aaron, get on the road. You're going to meet up with Moses. So Aaron's already on the way to rescue him, even before Moses makes the request. So God says, you should be able to do this, but fine. Aaron's already on his way because I knew this was going to happen. And we're going to find that Aaron and Moses work together very closely. Aaron does a lot of the speaking, but Moses kind of tells him what to say. So they, let's see. So Moses and Aaron meet up, and they see all of the people of Israel. And this is when, the people of Israel who, a lot of them, wouldn't, it says the elders. So they probably maybe knew this, they would have known the story of Moses. And Aaron, of course, has been in slavery all these years. So Aaron can vouch for him. And so they say, okay, we accept your help. And they're so relieved to find out that God has not forgotten them or given up on them. It says that they worship him when they find that they're going to be delivered, that God has not ignored them. Another part that stood out to me is when Moses says, I think he says it to his father-in-law. Yeah. He says in verse 18, he says to his father-in-law, let me go back to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive. Imagine what that was like for Moses. He's been in Midian for all of these years. He's gotten married. He has kids. He's a shepherd. He's had a whole life, right? He doesn't know if any of the people back in Egypt have survived. He doesn't know if all of the slaves have died, what's happened to his family. Remember, we know he has a brother, Aaron, and we know his sister, Miriam, because Miriam was the one who watched in the reeds when he was just a tiny baby. He doesn't know if his mother is alive, if his sister and brother are alive, and he doesn't know anything. And so when he asks permission, he says, I just want to know if they're alive. Or he's going to end up doing something so much bigger than that, but I just think there's so much sadness in that not knowing, just not knowing what happened to those people. So a lot of people in the world today who have to live with the sadness of just not knowing what happened to people that they love. And I think this is a place that we see that God is sympathetic to that and understands and is sympathetic to that feeling. I will see you tomorrow.